focus on your habits and patterns of behaviors. You could do that. Going to a daily breath work routine is going to help. It has to be nothing crazy, it has to be shamanic breathing and stuff, but, because that'll burn you up. But just grounding. Be mindful of the food you put into your body, treat yourself well. If you want to serve God, serve the temple, clean that up and then show others how to serve that through your experience.
Our potential, it's exponential.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another podcast of Abundant Souls. I'm here with my friend Dean. Dean, Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Heck yeah. So tell us about this. Dean brought me some water. Tell me about this.
So this is altitude water. And so altitude water is a machine that pulls water from the humidity, from the air, puts it through an ozone filtration process. So it distills it, cleans it out, and then remineralizes the water. And then that gives us fresh drinking water.
Gotcha.
So it's untapped water, right? Directly from the air.
Pulls it from the air.
Yep.
And then now I could drink this.
Now you can drink it. You can even see like the little bubbles, like adds oxygen into the.
No way.
Yeah.
Because I'm drinking this Zephyrhill stuff.
So there's no pipes, it goes straight from the air and get a fresh drinking water. And one of the machines, they pull 12 gallons a day. And they have one machine that pulls 250 gallons a day.
Out of the air.
Wow. And then that's what they're going to use for like relief, like as a relief trailer. So when there's any natural disasters and water's contaminated. Yeah.
Who came up with this?
A buddy of mine named Jeff. He's in Delray. He had the machine, the patent for a while, without getting too much into their business and stuff. Yeah. But it was a company bought it or something, and then they weren't really doing much with it. So he bought it back.
Cool.
And now
he has the machine.
He's got the machines now. And
and it's on a trailer, you said.
Yeah, the 250 gallon one. I have one next to my RV. It's just we bring to the cocoa market, so everyone's like dancing and stuff. Yeah, I'm running around like giving everybody water, so it's cool.
You go to cocoa
market? Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, Corey's coming on the next one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Dude, yeah. Wow, dude, thank you for this.
You're welcome.
Altitude water, yeah. It's a few things. So we also got squeezed juice. I was on the way here, though. The kitchen was closed. I was going to bring you a bunch of juices, but squeezed juice. That's how we met. Okay, yeah. So tell us about it. What do you guys do? That's cool, too. It's like subscription model, too? Yeah, so subscription model. They have all different kinds of juices, cleanses. This ties into a few things, right? So that's the product Life Butter. Life Butter is coconut oil, honey, Himalayan sea salt, cacao, almond butter, cashews. And the goal for Life Butter is to give people a foundation to their diet. We tie that in with squeezed juices, which is organically pressed juices. The focus is to give everybody their micronutrients. And as you eat whole foods, when you take in the micronutrients, the macronutrients will follow. So the goal is to get people out of the mindset that they need on calories. That's kind of like what stumps us. We try to limit calories. It's all about that. We try to limit macros. But you're saying just take in the micronutrients.
Focus on the macros. Whole foods, nothing artificial, nothing processed. Gosh. Focus on the whole foods. Focus on your macros. Yeah. And as you fill the body with the macros will follow. It goes with the universal law, like as the microcosm, so the macrocosm, or as the macro-universe, so the macro-universe. So same thing, as the micronutrient, so the macronutrient.
That's interesting. Yeah, so tell people about this, because it's clearly not just, I sell juices. Like you help people with this.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a tie-in. I was a professional bodybuilder when I was 20 years old. I got my pro card in the IFBB. And during that time, it was bodybuilding diet, right? So it was all just calories, macros, limiting.
Right.
And as you go through that,
you didn't like have oil and stuff like that?
No. It was just like, just eating, your meats. And I mean, you still get your macros in it, but that wasn't the focus. That wasn't your focus. Calorie-based, right? Limiting calories or adding calories from certain parts. So eventually you go through that process, you start to wear yourself out. You might look good, but you feel like crap, It's because your body's is limited on the micronutrients. So I had to rebuild myself, reboot it. So I went to more holistic routes, started learning about energetic healing, where the energy comes from, not just through the macronutrients, but understanding micros, the, phytonutrients, antioxidants, how that clears out the free radicals caused from oxidative stress, which is the number one causes that build up cancer cells. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you think about this, like how does this stuff come up? Like
right.
all these disease.
Yeah.
So where'd you study this sort of stuff?
It's just been years of me taking it in,
Just reading
books.
Self-study.
Self-study, yep.
Interesting.
And that nutrients, so...
Who touched you? Like how, so because phytonutrients, all this stuff is super scientific, right? Like someone would be like...
Yeah, these are big words. The phytonutrients is just plant nutrients. That's phytonutrients. Yeah. So, but what comes in, you have your, different minerals and vitamins, and what does each one do?
Like this water, for example, you gave me this. I was like, wow, like I know I have water that's charged. Yeah. I've had it from a spring, from the mountain. Like, I mean, dude, it's night and day. Like you feel better.
Yeah, you can.
There's minerals. There's minerals in here. You're right. Like there's more going on.
And it's pulling straight. Like, so water that runs through pipes and stuff, that is considered dead water, right? Because after a while it's just sitting, and then it's got to run through a pipe.
Because you're saying there's like it like throws all that stuff off, like energetically.
Yes, absolutely. When you're pulling water straight from the air.
For people who don't know what we're talking about, like explain that, because it's super interesting.
Well, if anything sits, right, like if you were to get water from a still pond, it's going to be, you're going to have larvae in there, you're going to have, that's what mosquitoes love, that stuff, right? Because they're able to sit and like fester. Stagnation, yeah. And nothing should be stagnant, right? Wow. Goes back into the practices I was telling you before, like what I teach, the works, which is breath, nutrition, movement, sound, and the walk is in faith. So when we focus on the mindfulness,
breath, nutrition, movement, sound.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's the works. That's what works around faith. Without faith, the works is dead. The faith is dead without works. And
interesting, bro. Faith
the works
too.
Without faith, the works is, and you're doing all this work, it's empty. It's like slavery. Like, what are you doing it for? Who are you doing it for?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I'm telling my homie that, I'm like, what do you even want? What do you want?
Yeah.
Who are we doing this for? Why are we doing all this? And
that goes into more, spiritual practice and stuff.
Yeah.
Instead of focusing on like, I am a god or a goddess or whatever, that's ego, right?
That's ego.
Pull out, believe in source, one God.
Wow.
Work in with that. That's the internal voice, that process. And how do we connect with that? Well, through mindful breath, we get to take away the chatter in the mind, the 80,000 plus thoughts in the day that pull us. Some of the thoughts aren't even ours, right? It's just programming. So movement helps us move the energy through the body, reconnect through the energetic centers, align ourselves so we can be more still. Nothing's ever still, everything's always moving, but it's the subtle stillness, the subtle movement that brings us into flow. In order to repair and replenish ourselves, we need mindful nutrition. So we focus on the ingredients. Right? First step is nothing processed, nothing artificial, because those are all empty calories. Those are synthetic, right?
Nothing processed, nothing artificial.
Yeah. Focus on the whole foods.
Cool.
Yeah.
Because you're not, are you vegan or are you not?
No, I stick mostly plant-based, but I do eat my meat 2 to 3 times a week.
But not processed, not artificial.
Yeah, and you try to get as clean as you can too, right? Organic, grass-fed. So
I try to get it from cows that are like out in Okeechobee, organic.
Yeah. So I do my best. I'm not perfect in it. I just that's the practice that I follow, and it's like
of course,
me too. Yeah. The practices for me, it's kind of like it's almost like the spirit. I don't want to say a religion, right? There's no religion in it, but it's the mindfulness that brings us closer to the reality of what is. The next thing is sound. That's the last one. The sound is like what comes out of our mouth, the things that we take in, the vibrations, the frequencies.
Right.
Yeah. And then it's the focus around, in faith, right? So like have the faith that when you go through the work within, there's a reason for that service. And the service is within the self. The body is the temple of God, right? We're trying to look for a time. Everyone goes to a church, this and that. No, everything's within, right? The body's the temple.
That's what I was trying to get at, yeah. Yeah, like, because you're saying it's not religion. It's not, blindly, but it's understanding these things. And you and I were talking about this before. It's a practice, right?
Yeah, day by day.
You even said, I'm not perfect at this. No. Walking in with juices and energized water. And it's facts, though, It's a daily practice.
And the thing is, too, it's without the practices, what are you really doing? We're just kind of running around like loose energy. not knowing where to put it. We have to know what we're doing. We have to focus that energy and put it towards something. So
yeah, I agree.
Put it towards the energy that we surround ourselves with, the music that we listen to, you know, the foods that we eat, the kind of movement, functional movement, not just, you know, it's one thing to go out day to day, like pick things up, but like when we're able to understand how to twist and turn the body, you know, we're taking care of ourselves and we're presenting ourselves in a higher structure, in a higher form.
I love that.
Yeah.
So you're talking about like functional movement, and talk about why that's important, because it's like in a day and age where we could literally be like this all day long, or like in a game or some sort of simulation. Who knows? Yeah. Why is what you do important?
Well, this opens us up, right? There's different energetic centers that run throughout the body, and the goal is to recharge the body each day. So movement helps recharge the body. It's like friction, you know, like in order to make fire, you have to rub, you know, two pieces of wood together. Eventually it'll heat up and make fire, right? Yes. But if those two pieces of wood stay next to each other, there's no charge in that. It just is what it is. Same thing with the body. In order to build up that fire in the body, we got to move it.
That's it.
And then if we
That's why dance and all these things are so essential.
And there's different things like ecstatic dance, right? That's more free form, you know. Functional training is more mindful movement from one posture or pattern into the next.
Interesting.
Both is needed, right? Yeah.
And activating that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
These different tactics. Exactly. Like ecstatic dance. I love that stuff. Cacao ceremonies and like just letting loose, you know?
And then also bringing it back to form. Too loose is no good, right? Too loose is chaos.
That's exactly right. With intention.
With intention.
Beautiful.
Too much logic is too much discipline. And discipline, you become a Nazi.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
not a lot of fun. That's the whole business end that turns people off. Right. And too like hard, like artistic, forgetting about logic and forgetting about is fairyland too.
It's the left and right brain. It's the balance of the two energies. Yeah. Masculine and feminine. That's a whole nother process too.
Yeah.
People don't understand. People confuse masculine and feminine energy with male and female. Male and female is the gender. Masculine and feminine is the two energies that ride in both male and females. So it's balancing.
So explain, So explain that for people who this might upset people and charge people up. But I know what you're kind of getting at: the yin and the yang, right?
The yin and the yang, yeah, absolutely.
Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So, and that's pretty much the basic structure of how life works, right? The yin, the yang, and then the two sides of it, and then how balancing the two brings us to this place of neutrality, of awareness of what is, right? Able to be aware of the chaos and able to be aware of the logic and how we can walk in the middle path, right? The way, right? The middle way.
That's exactly right. The middle path.
That's
beautiful. Because when it gets imbalanced, it's happened to me in the past. I'm sure you too. You
Absolutely.
know? We.
That's why I'm here doing. Because why do we get here? Why do you have a spiritual awakening? Usually
ego death.
Multiple, many, and still to this day, every day I had one this morning. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow.
It's being aware of that.
So tell me about it. Yeah, and I think, beautiful, Dean, because I could tell you're so humble and just willing to share and showing up, and you're a good dude. You know, you're doing kids camp and at Atha.
I'm so it fulfills my soul so much.
Right?
Yeah, working with kids.
Yeah.
My next step is to work with adults, like older people, and then bring the two together. You know, have the kids help the adults. You know. The older ones.
Such a big heart, bro. I love it.
Thank you.
So tell us, dude, because I worked at a kids camp too, a couple different ones.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and anyways, you do it at Atha. Yeah. Tell us about it, dude. You were telling me a little bit about.
Yeah, so right now we're teaching kids just the basics, you know, yoga, a little bit of nutrition by planting a seed. So each day we show them a different seed, the benefits of the seed. We give them a little character card with it. Which is another thing. We're going to make like an animated series.
Wow. How old are
they? Ages from 6 to 11.
Oh, that's perfect.
But like today we had like a 4-year-old in there, and
they're not like too cool for school yet.
Not yet. No, they're like, cool. They're too cool for me.
Gangsters. Yeah. That's fun.
They're fun though.
Bro, cool. So what it fulfills you?
Yeah, just being able to have those practices, and I'm going to be 33, so. Just it's the giving back. That's what life is all about, especially when you're in that middle age. It's like, what are you doing with your life? If you can just focus on serving the younger generation and helping the older generation run through their process, I think that's what grounds us as human beings, young adults.
reminds us what's important.
Yeah, we get to see it on both ends, and we're in the middle of it. So it's like one of the most important years of our life is like within that age range of like 25 to 45. I feel like.
What do they call it? Something, dude. That time frame. Saturn return to.
Well, it's the Christ consciousness in that end too, right? Like, like Christ fulfilled his prophecies and everything, and then he. That's right. Apparently, he died at 33. Right?
I was thinking the same thing when you said that number.
Yeah.
At 33 is when he was supposedly sacrificed, right? And ascended.
Yeah. So very specific numbers for that. Also 33 vertebrae in the spine. Yeah. The channel, the energy running up to 33 vertebrae. So
33, it's like it's a Freemason number too. It is, yeah. It's interesting to think about, bro. Yeah. You're a deep dude, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it comes, so just trying to work with it.
That's it, bro.
Can't hide from it.
Do the kids love the camp, the summer camp?
Yeah, so far they're loving it. You know? Yeah. Do some some dance play and water play we have, for them.
Cool. Dude, I would love that.
Yeah, I want you to come and show them the plants, teach them
I would
about
love
the plants.
that. Dude, we'll do a plant walk.
Absolutely.
That sounds fun, dude. Yeah. And Atha, shout out to Atha. They're beautiful space.
Yeah, great space, great people.
Yeah.
They're yogis, they're in that practice all day.
Big time.
Yeah.
I saw Satsang there. Like the artist.
Oh, really? You do that?
Yeah.
Cool.
He's cool, Yeah, dude, so tell us more about like your business and, your model, if you will. Yeah. Juicing, a lot of people are into it.
Yeah, so Squeeze Juice, I partnered with Squeeze Juice to put together a diet program called the Leo Diet, which is life energy optimization.
The Leo Diet.
The Leo Diet, yeah. I'm also a Leo. My son's name is Leo, so it kind of all tied in. But
the energy is in the products.
Yeah, it's in the awareness of, again, the nutrition, mindfulness and nutrition. So it's like, what can we give people as a base foundation to just take something in so they can have a foundation of nutrients, and then they can add on to that, right? So having the life butter, 1 or 2 snacks of life butter a day. We make like life butter bowls, parfaits, and then just the butter you can add to your rice and stuff. The juices and a super salad. So that's
beautiful, bro. The salad is key. The oils, bro. The coconut oil.
Got MCT oil in it, bro, which is medium chain triglycerides. That's what helps repair the receptors in the brain.
That's cool. So you guys are helping roll out like products for people to like easily, like life butter. Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah, just something to keep people less hangry.
Beautiful, yeah.
And the way we do that is by
real satiated,
real nourishing. Something that's going to actually repair and recover. And then through that, the nutrition, it goes back into the other practices, right? So like mindful breath work, mindful movement, mindful sound. I believe those 4 pillars, the work, along with faith, your prayers, your daily prayer, being of service to others, that's going to help just the body, the mind, find a deeper purpose in your day-to-day walk, what you're doing. It doesn't take you away from your 9 to 5, if you have a 9 to 5 and that's what you do to make your living,
it's integrated into
integrated into it.
It's breathing in that.
And it's simple.
It's moving in.
Yeah, it's simple. And it's a little bit each day, simple. Just 5-10 minutes, mindful breath, 10 minutes of movement, when you go into the shopping, to Publix or whatever, you're not, being able to take away artificial process, you get to actually, it limits like 80% of your shopping experience, and you focus on that 20% that matters.
Interesting. Yeah. I've been eating fruits like mangoes in the morning and mamey. Nice. It's way better than prepping or stopping or what. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, movement, breath. Repeat it for everybody.
Breath, nutrition, movement, sound. That's the works, and the walk is in
breath,
faith.
Nutrition, movement, sound. Yeah. That's the word, and the walk is faith.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, dude.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing that, bro.
Yeah.
Dude, so we're doing the camp. What else, bro?
So we got the camp. We have the Leo Diet that's rolling out on Squeeze Juice, SQZDjuice.com.
It's a diet program.
It's called as Leo Diet, but it's not necessarily supposed to be a diet because the diet limits the body.
Gotcha.
This is supposed to help create abundance in the nutritional program.
Explain people about that. What does that mean?
Abundance?
Yeah,
well, just abundance. More, right? Like having and more than enough to where you can share it, right? So when you're abundant in something, you have for yourself and others. And it starts with like nutrition. When you're lacking your nutrition, you're lacking your own energy. You're not fulfilling your cup. And then you don't have any energy to give to others, or the proper energy.
Bro, so true.
Yeah.
Thanks for explaining
and when we
that.
Focus on
you're
the
not
micros,
you're not available for others. You can't be.
Exactly.
You're not even your
not
cup's
available
not even
for yourself.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Talk about the nervous system. Like nervous system is like a key factor, right? So when we nourish our body.
How do you heal that? How do you?
Breath, nutrition, movement, sound, faith.
Facts, yeah.
Balancing
Tulsi plants.
Oh, absolutely. Tulsi, holy basil.
But you're right. Breath.
Yeah.
Wow, bro. This is amazing, bro. Thank you for sharing.
Absolutely,
yeah. This is what it's all about, you know. Sharing what we were so freely given, you know.
Absolutely.
Abundance, dude. That's what you just said. This podcast is called Abundant Souls.
There you go.
It's given what, you know, we're here on a Wednesday to share.
Yeah. And so that's the practice. Through that process, I met some great people, you know, who are in their own practices. It's all connected the same. Right? The truth is consistent. The truth never changes. We're just trying to find ways to express ourselves within truth, right? And what that is.
And we met through One World, you know?
Yeah, One World.
They're totally tuned in on that same truth. There's one truth.
One truth, yeah. Exactly.
There's one love.
Yeah, that's what it is, you know.
Yeah.
How can we stay in control of our emotions? When I mean control of in balance with our emotions, you know, not really trying to control the emotions, but being aware of it and being able to process it. And then each day, little by little, we become more in tune and in flow with what is, no longer attaching to the thoughts. Another thing too, our thoughts, what happens to our body, a lot of that has to do with the microbiome in our gut. And so, because the microbiome is constantly speaking to our brain through the gut-brain axis.
That's right. Tell people about that.
Yeah. Want to talk about
demons? It starts
in
the gut.
Yeah.
What?
That's the second brain, right? That's probably the first brain, but...
Wait, talk about what?
So, like, into, like, demons and stuff, like how they...
Tell us about it.
Like, a lot of people, when they're sick and stuff, it's like they're a little crazy, right? And it's like, well, where's that coming from? Energetically, it's one thing, but we go into chemistry, we look into the microbiome, and you got the parasites. And
it talks to their brain.
Yeah. And
I've heard about that with...
It's the lower entities, which is the bacteria in the gut.
It's super interesting.
So when you clean that out, the candida, you know, the not all yeast, but the negative yeast, we start to clear out the thought process.
Too much. So what you're saying is there's not a balance. There's like too many of these parasites, if you will, and yeast and different, like, yeah, it's the same with the soil, man. I always relate it to the soil. Same thing when there's an imbalance. There's too much nematodes, too much. You know what I mean? You need to balance that out.
Yeah.
And then everything else will go super silky smooth.
It becomes smoother. Exactly. Yeah, smooth.
Interesting. So, dude, yeah.
And then when we clear that out, we create space in the body. When we have space, then energy can move. And then that's how we become freer within. You know, free from our thoughts, free from the emotions, free from lack and negativity.
Right.
Or it's just that, you know, like when you feel like just down.
Dense energy, right? Whatever.
Stuck, right?
That's why people fast and do all these things.
It's, a very spiritual process. There's a reason we're just cleaning out. So, and then once we find that balance,
and clean,
And then once we have that, then we can we can think a little clearer. We start to realize we don't need to do so much in our days, right? Just a little bit. Give a little bit each day, a little bit of service, and the fruits will come back. We start to bear good fruits, it's called, you know, when you do, especially when you're doing for a higher power, higher purpose, not just yourself. If not, then we become the parasite. We start to absorb everything. We start to take. We feel like God is take. That's why, which leads into other things, right? Greed, desires.
Wow. Yeah. If not, we become the parasite.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And not that most, I'm not going to say most people are, but there's a good fraction of people that are that way because they just don't know the practices. But that's what
we're here for, man.
Exactly.
We're here to talk about and share it,
And we're all subjected
to it.
Yeah. We're all subjected to it.
Big time.
Yeah.
It's just getting on the path. There's one truth and one love.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. By the way, guys, Dean and I met right away. I had this at this market. And I was there to play music, not even to do plants. I think I brought plants. And anyways, I started playing, and Dean's like, dude, I brought my cajon. And literally we played for like a couple hours.
Yeah, just jamming out. Yeah,
so fun.
Yeah, that was my the practice of sound. Like that was part of the. So every day I wake up, one of those things roll by, right? Like I have my drums with me, and I have my training tools with me, and like anywhere I go, I'll find a way to incorporate that practice with community.
Yeah, big
and
time.
without that, like if I was to show up there without that practice, that wouldn't have happened, right?
Me too. Do it with community. Yeah, because music really with multiple people, like my homie Noah, people will come through and we'll play together, Jared, like just jam together. I
mean, that's how the Holy Spirit communicates. When we working with each other.
What do you mean by that? Someone would be like turned off by that Holy Spirit with the,
So Holy Spirit is it's the energetic connection that aligns us consciously, right? So we have the body, mind, soul, right? The Holy Spirit is that one
tuning us in with that.
Yeah, and when we're singing and we're connecting with each other, we're co-creating in that. And if we do it out of love, with out of intention, like what the music we were singing, like it was all high vibrational music, right? Like uplifting music. The Holy Spirit loves that because that's how it channels through.
Yeah. And being present in that, it's like it is that what you're talking about.
Yeah, it brings purpose. Like, look, everyone around us that day, they were able to enjoy that, able to participate in, and like that's fellowshipping. That's when we come together, we fellowship. It's a form of evangelizing, speaking, like being with.
Humans have done that, by the way, for many, many generations.
Of course, because it's consistent. It's the truth. When the truth comes out, that's the consistency of it, right?
And it feels good. By the way, that's why I did that market, not because I'm trying to sell and all these things. It's for that reason. I wanted to share music. And have that. I miss the community of markets.
Yeah.
The community.
That's why I love the Coca market so much. It's like, and it's on a Sunday, which is great because it's like, I don't have to be at church to be of service. I just got to go like one of these markets and hand out water and dance with everyone, sing, and you find that, the
same thing.
There's a fulfillment there for a reason,
It feels good, bro. Yeah, connection.
And other people see it too. They get inspired, when you're out there being your best and being of service, other people see that, and then they can take it like simple thing, right? Like I went out with a group of friends. We went out to a bar. I don't drink, they don't drink, but we went out to dance. That was the focus.
Nice.
And someone spilt stuff all over the place. So I got a broom, cleaned it up. And like I didn't have to do that, but something in my head told me to do it because it's being like outside yourself, right? Being of service.
Yeah.
Later on the night, someone else spilled a drink and a buddy of mine went up and cleaned it up too. So right there just show like that it's like when you're being of service, people resonate, they see that, and it's a learning process, and then they're doing it, and then that's good. It's like then the next person's going to see that. It might be someone that's not even in the group.
Totally,
could be, and the next day something might happen that'll pull through. So it's always good to be
through people's actions. Bro.
Actions speak
louder
than words.
Think about that. You go to a town or something, everyone's all nice to you. You're like, wow, everyone's so nice.
And
you're like, but it's people like, yeah, dude, you want to
bring it forward.
You want to bring it back to your hometown or whatever, and
And so the conscious action is that as a human, to be with that each day, and it's not so much looking, because it's not so much looking to get something, receive something back, but just know that's what the faith is. It's knowing that when you're in the practice, that and through faith, God is good in that faith, and it'll come back, And it's
I believe that too.
Yeah.
I really do.
Absolutely.
God
it's
is
the way
good.
It works, right? The universe is perfect. Outside all the imperfections, the alignments are perfect, and it's here for a reason. So,
I believe that too, man. That's beautiful.
And when we share those practices and connections, then we start to see it on an energetic level, on a conscious level. Not so much. It doesn't have to be form. It's more of an awareness of.
What would you say? Because I have this belief. Because we have limited time, and I really appreciate you coming, dude. But I have this belief that, like, maybe, like, and we kind of talked about this before, that, like, most, like, if you turn yourself off to the possibility of what we're talking about, if you turn yourself off to that, like, you're not open to it, you're not willing to accept it, you're not there, it doesn't show up for you.
Yeah.
What do you think? Like, I feel like that's so true. Until you're willing, until you're open, until you surrender your fucking ego, whatever you want to call it, it won't show up.
Well, that's
interesting, bro.
No, it's
but
there.
It's like then you
We're
say
just
like,
not turning to
that's
it.
not real, you know? What do you think about that?
Yeah. So whether you believe in God or not,
yeah.
it still exists, right? It's like, where are you going to walk, you know? If you bring it, and that's how we like, when you start to disconnect from that each day, then what happens? You become sick, diseased, become like, just like a hard person, you know? Selfish.
That feels right, bro. And not fulfilled, not in flow. So yeah. So tell people, like, because I see that too, like in my world.
Yeah.
Like, how is that? How would someone be able to like break out of that pattern?
Breath, nutrition, movement, sound. Let's just go into a mindful practice each day. Self-care. Yeah. I say self-care is a form of prayer.
Around that.
Yeah.
Making time for it.
The understanding. Another thing too is like, it's the body, right? So we live in this body and we're like, this is happening to me, this and that. And then it comes to a point where we realize, oh, I have a way, like, I have will in my life, willpower. And that willpower, if I utilize that little bit of willpower, that mind that's like, oh, maybe I should do this, and you just go with it, you know, follow it, then you'll see how that will bring you, it's the yoking, right? Like in yoga, it's called yoking, right? When you connect, you do one thing, practice to pull you in, which will then pull you into the next practice or the next movement. And then then you start to see the tie-in. If I do this, then this will lead me to this. And then before you know, like, that's how we raise our consciousness.
This all makes sense.
Yeah.
The yoking.
When we step back, when we start, when we're in judgment, when we're not of service, we create separation, or the illusion of separation. Right?
Dude, we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
And then that's what happens.
Because that's just all bullshit, right?
Separation, absolutely. Because we see ourselves in physical. So like, you're here, I'm there. Yeah. We're separate. But what are we breathing? Yeah. We're breathing the same air.
Yeah, man. It all matters. We all are gonna have kids, grow up together, and play soccer.
And if not our own kids, other people's kids, and it's all God's children. So we are God's children. So
all of us.
It's understanding that. And when we do stuff from as within, so without, we start that practice. We start to see the connection is not what's outside us, but what's inside us. And then we start to channel that energy.
This is what Martin Luther King talked about. All this stuff, like. These guys are my real heroes, dude. Like, I hope that this podcast could touch people like that. Like,
I hope so too.
The illusion of separation, bro.
Yeah,
because it's an illusion.
Yep, and we do that when we're it's being in our flesh, right? The flesh is here to survive, but our soul's eternal. It's forever. So we got to connect to that.
And it takes like reflection and meditation and breaking away from the bullshit to see that, you know,
stepping out, creating space.
You know, when we're kids, we're like super, you know, of the flesh or whatever. And
it's chemistry, right? It's like our body's growing through a process. Most of our lives, we're going through a chemical process that we can't understand. You know, we got puberty, you know, and like And then we have traumas that, you know, why is this happening? Why is that? And then we become angry, resentful. But then, you know, some people, they'll find the practice. Some people are lucky enough to be born with a family or a community that are in certain practices.
Sure.
Another sad part about that too, when you get into the spiritual aspects, these practices people hone in on and they become so obsessed with it that it creates more separation. They become like so holy, such holy people, but they're not. They become dark in their own holiness.
And they're not right. They show up to the store and they're being petty to people.
I'm that. You know, like, so.
Interesting, right?
It's a dance, and it's for all of us.
And that's you're exactly, and my boy Andy and I, we make fun of that all the time. Like, but you're exactly right.
It's the spiritual fluff. I call it the fluff, you know?
And people make fun of it on IG and stuff. It's hilarious.
And it's because there's a place for it, right?
Yeah. But it's also the same thing. But you're talking about just religion, just philosophies, right? People, because the same thing happens with any religion, Osho and all these stories.
It's our human instinct in the flesh is to survive and to absorb. That's right. That's why it's to be a conscious human. It's to override those desires.
Right. Dude, talk about that.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm getting excited because what you're saying is we're conditioned to just survive and like flight, freeze, fucking flight. Freeze, dude, who even knows? Like, it's not to step away and be conscious.
Yeah.
And like, right? Higher being.
Yeah, just talk being about that. With what is. Knowing with what is, right? Like not going into taking yourself out of judgment and focusing on discernment.
God,
right?
Taking yourself out of judgment and focusing on discernment. That's dope.
And like, so
focusing on what is, bro.
What is. And what
you know
is
what I'm saying? Like,
what is what's, there. So I believe some people would be like, there is no good and bad, everything just is. And I was in that process too, but there's another way to look at it too. It's like, all right, there is good, right? There is good, there is evil. But your practice is to be in a space to be aware of what is good and what is evil. And then you get to choose where you're flowing into, Evil becomes, it's an energetic thing, right? And you can become more evil as you cater to your flesh.
You could use your skills for darkness.
Of course.
I try to think of it like light and darkness, right?
But also it's hard too, right? Because with magic, right? I mean, in Christianity, they say, like, don't use any magic, good or bad. That's not the point, right? Because what you're doing is whether you're manipulating, you're trying to pull.
Got you.
So it's not about seeing light and darkness as good or bad. That's not it, right? Good, there can be light people that are doing dark stuff, right? And there could be dark people that will do really good for their community. So it's not the dark and the light that's good and evil.
Interesting.
It's the actions that are taken in between those forms.
So why are those people dark and light if they're doing good things?
So
and bad things?
It's not so. Another thing too, what creates someone to be darker, right? It's like people will sometimes they serve a god or a goddess and an entity or whatever, and when you start serving something that is not God of the highest, then you become a slave to that. The ego starts, it's like the archetypes, right? Like you start to try to become an archetype. One thing that came to me on the way here.
It's like false idols.
False idols, right? Exactly. And
the golden calf.
Yeah. And one of the commandments is don't idol, right? Don't,
People do that. Their BMW or whatever. Well, I have some of these nice things. I really don't care. Because I understand what you're saying. It's just material. Not the way.
Yeah.
Bro.
There's pieces,
Who
it's
cares?
like, I was in marketing.
I mean, like you take care of your stuff, you respect these things. But.
I mean, take care of your place. That's the point. That's a spiritual practice too. But don't worship it.
Don't worship it.
Yeah.
Worship.
Because the moment you go into that, then you start pulling, and you think you're doing good. That's why, like, people like the light. People that are of the light.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, like, they're saying that, but they're doing things out of selfish reasons because they're attaching to something, and they don't even know it. Doesn't mean they're bad people. They're just
right. Like, for example, like, tell people an example. Like, I'm just curious. I'm trying to hear what you're saying.
An example would be like going to yoga every day, right, and serving an entity in your movement. Well, then when you leave that and you go out, what are you doing? You're still serving that entity. God doesn't want that. We're just utilizing these movements and practice to free our energy and to build awareness, but not to serve something or a specific thing,
Yeah.
When you're teaching, sometimes we're teaching things, but some people feel like they have to teach because they have to take energy from that, Then it becomes controlling. So you're no longer teaching.
That's right.
Well, you became the teacher, but no, we're always the student. Some are just better students than others. The ultimate teacher is God.
You're a great counselor, bro.
Oh,
that's it, dude. The ultimate teacher is God, bro.
Yeah.
And that's for any teaching, dude. That's it. Because when I'm out in the garden, I'm teaching or training or whatever, I'm letting stuff happen. It's like, what's going on? And then, anyways, you're exactly right. It's not teaching. That's controlling, bro. Controlling. That's not.
We get to share information. That's the form of teaching, but we're not the teacher.
God is the ultimate, dude. Because I'll talk about plants all day long. A hurricane will come. Take it out, bro. Teach me a whole new lesson.
Yeah, once you think you know.
But bro, exactly what you're saying. Like with parenting, like it's like the helicopter parent somewhere. It almost does the opposite. They've seen that, and people,
I learned when I'm going through a process trying to get custody back from my child. This has been a big learning process. But even like with the children, like I feel that the children are teaching me.
Wow.
You know, I'm not teaching them. They're teaching me how to be patient, how to be kind, how to be humble, how, you know, and it's just like another level. Like I'm on their level. I'm not much in this form. I'm older than them, but not spiritually.
They're affecting you as well.
And God's affecting me through them, you know, and I get to learn that.
They're teaching you patience, teaching you how to treat people, teaching you how, that's it.
Yeah, service.
They're teaching you, bro.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's exactly right. I felt the same way, bro, when I was a counselor.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's so also like when you go to different like ashrams, they say that the patient, so there's the student and the teacher, like the student teaches the teacher and the teacher teaches the student. And it's that service back and forth where they become equal. One might be on one side of the plate, like needing some kind of service, but the teachers also need a service, and that's where the learning comes in.
That's cool.
Is when people like saying like I am the teacher. It's like that's ego, right? And then that's you shut down. Like the professional.
I don't want to even be a part of that, bro.
I'm not a professional in anything.
That's right.
Because the moment I thought I was a professional, that's where everything went.
Yeah, and that's what podcasts are all about, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. But dude, by the way, I think that's why I didn't like teachers. I was like, they were all like, yo, this is the way it is.
Yeah.
Really? Like.
And you know, like in society that inform, like to, you know, for your day to day to have some kind of feeling of balance, that's kind of what we do. We pull into things of like, this has to be this way, you know, so we can all be in alignment. But eventually over time,
agreements,
we become unconscious, you know, and then we start to defile ourselves. Defilement's another big thing. People, you know,
talk about that, bro.
Yeah.
And by the way, I love teachers. I'm just saying that conventional.
Yeah.
I know this.
And
it's all
it's an individual process too, right? Like doctors too. I hate doctors. I don't hate any individual who's a doctor, but just the whole doctrine of it.
What it turns into, the system.
Yeah. And that was fed by people that wanted to control, and then you know, like cutting off limbs and stuff like that.
How so?
I don't know. Without going too far deep into it, and then like shooting myself in the foot.
Yeah.
It was all to it's all to control the people in one way. Like instead of going to God and having that faith within, and having the faith that the body can heal itself given the right tools, we give up our power to other humans that might have been, you know, higher than us in money wise, right, or on a societal scale. And then the people that are higher up in society, like the Rothschilds and all that, they built these programs, you know, hospitals.
And the education, by the way.
And the education.
100 years ago.
You know, and it was to control the people, control the society so that they care.
And those people might not have the same intentions you do. They might not care about you as much as you and your family.
Yeah, I mean,
that's just the way it works, bro. It's just a fact.
And then,
but they want to be the savior. Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's the thing, right? It's like everyone wants to be that, and then... You know,
I mean,
when you have a lot of money and a lot of power too, it's easier to control the masses that way. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to wake up to that. We're trying to find sanity,
bro.
You know, without having to take synthetic medicines. And, you know, if we're sick.
Thanks for doing that, bro.
Yeah.
Because we're all like doing it on so many fronts, but that's amazing.
Yeah.
Empowering people to find sovereignty.
Yeah, within themselves.
That's what within
with
themselves.
God. It's just me going, and it's based on my experiences in life. Like I have nothing special. If anything, I'm the worst because I screwed up so badly. I'm just trying to get out of it. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And through that process of trying to get out of it, that's what humbles me to be like, hey guys, you know.
How so? Because dude. Where are you from? Where you grow up?
Brooklyn originally, bro. And then 17 years there, and then I was in Jersey.
In Babylon, bro.
It feels like that.
Yeah. And then Jersey, and then you came down here.
Came here, yeah. My son's here, so I'm here fighting for him pretty much. Amazing, to see him,
bro. Yeah, dude, I feel that. Yeah, you were in the depths so much, and you came out of it with all these practices you've been talking.
I'm still in my process, you know what I mean? And I don't know, maybe it's for the rest of my life, but I know that if I stay conscious on certain things, that like I'm better than where I was yesterday.
Yeah, dude.
And through the chaos, I can find some type of peace in the midst of the chaos. And it's really being of service. Like that's my, I wake up every day and I have to be of service.
Isn't that it, bro? That's it. That's what I try to think about with my business. It's like, who can I help? Like, how can I help?
I mean, with the plants, the best thing, you know, working on in the gardens, the best thing that we can do. That's why I teach the kids how to plant the seed. It's simple, but it's a service that we're doing.
You feel that
that's going to grow, and then that's going to produce more seeds. You know,
when it grows, you feel the contribution. You feel that, right?
Yeah, and you see it happen. You see growth. You see life happen in front of your eyes, and you get to be a part of it. You get to put that seed in the soil, water it, and watch life happen.
Bro, beautiful. Yeah, be of service, bro. Yeah. That's it. How can you be depressed, bro, when you're helping other people?
Well, I mean, I'm still depressed sometimes helping other people, but there's almost there's a sovereignty in that too. It's like, okay, there's still purpose in this. I get to be out of I get to take myself out of the depression and not focus on my crap and be of service for others. And the goal in that process to have others open up their eyes, and then they do it back. And again, the Holy Spirit works that way. It's like when people chant, when we're chanting back and forth, I'm bringing you energy, you're bringing me energy. And as we go back and forth, that space in between is the Spirit working in relation.
We're co-creating our own reality all the time.
Yeah, I mean, with God, right?
With God.
There's our ego reality, and then there's the ultimate reality. There's what is.
There's what is, everybody.
And we're not.
Let's tune into that.
Another thing too is, don't try to kill your ego, because that was one thing I was trying to do. But ego's flesh. We're not trying to kill ourselves. We're trying to work with what is. Yeah.
Dude, Carl Jung talks about that. It's not. You don't want to. It's not bad. It's part of the.
We just have to know how to tame it. It's like taming it. You know, like that's why self-care is an important thing. Self-care is taking care of the ego, taking care of the self. But self-care is a form of prayer. The body's the temple, right? So it's like a live temple. And we're inside it. We dwell in it. The Holy Spirit dwells within us. We become conscious of that awareness. And then when we can tap into that awareness subtlety, then we become that is, right? It's
beautiful.
Not saying that we are God, right? We are technically, but we're one, right? That's what that means.
It's like a piece of the ocean. It's like we're the ocean, but we're just a drop in the ocean. But we're the ocean. But we are that. Right.
We all go back to it.
You're amazing. Thank you for today.
You're amazing too. I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you, bro. Dude, before we leave for our audience, because we have to leave, and I'm sorry, everybody. It's time is running low, but is there anything you want to share with the masses?
Yeah. Focus on your habits and patterns of behaviors. You know, you could do that. Going to a daily breath work routine is going to help. It has to be nothing crazy, you know. It has to be shamanic breathing and stuff, but, you know, because that'll burn you up. But just grounding. Be mindful of the food you put into your body. You know, treat yourself well. If you want to serve God, serve the temple. You know, clean that up and then show others how to serve that through your experience. And do it in the most humble way possible. I don't care how good you look or how good you are at it, still stay humble, because that's gonna,
says the bodybuilder over here.
And that comes from that facts, mindset. You know, I was an IFBB pro at 20 years old. I was the youngest professional bodybuilder at the time, so my ego is up there. You know what I mean? And like
the heights.
And as big as I was, I crashed.
Does it serve you?
These days?
The ego.
No, I mean, the ego is a servant. You know what I mean? It's not you tame it. The ego is once a master. Right. You know, I was feeding that ego, building the body and this and that. And like,
it was you were a servant to it.
I was serving that, So the ego is my servant, right? At least that's what I try to look at each day. And if I can get the ego to serve the higher power, then I can find humility and humbleness in that, and I become equal to everyone. And honestly, that gives me, like, I want to cry thinking about that, because I used to think I was so much better than everyone in different ways. I'm not. But once I realized that, and then I'm of service to the children and the adults and stuff, I get to see, like, all right, this oneness mindset is really where it's at, you know, and we just got to stay in that. We got to stay in that flow. And not perfect, dude. You could talk to my partner outside, you know, she checks me all the time. And that's what it is. It's the teaching, the relationship in that, you know, checking ourselves. And
that's it.
When we open up our mouths, you know, be careful what we say to others, and you know, they'll go on impulse and stuff.
Totally, bro. Yeah. Discipline, taming the ego.
Yeah.
I'm gonna reflect on that, bro. Yeah. Take care of yourself, bro. It's beautiful. Thanks for saying that. Be mindful of your behaviors, your habits.
Yep.
Dude, good stuff. Yeah, thanks for sharing the good word today.
Yeah, thank you.
And yeah, just being you. Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.